Kia ora guys, Andy here. Just a quick little video, something I learnt this morning. So I ran a workshop with some 6 and 7-year-olds this morning. And in terms of a recap, this is what we did last week. We started thinking about, what do computers think like, and the fact that they need really specific instructions to do the jobs that we tell them to do. And then that built up some of our expectations. And one of the activities that we started doing as we're looking at this very popular sort of grid activity. You're learning about directions and how if you have specific instructions, you can repeat the outcome. And that's essentially what a program is and an algorithm. It's a list of specific steps to complete a task, and then a program allows us to interpret those steps. Doesn't matter what platform we're on. So the fact that I can use Canva here on a Windows platform, you could be using it on an Apple platform. So that went really well. And then last week I tried the extension of this activity, which was another popular one, where you're taking the same idea, but you're adding in this added step of coloring in a box. And one of my reflections was that students really struggled with this activity because it didn't make sense. There wasn't a clear why. So with the dinosaur one, we're trying to get him to eat its food. It makes sense. We need to get the dinosaur. The dinosaur's hungry. We created up a narrative, but it made sense. There was like a story loop. But when it came to creating like really abstract shapes, it just didn't make any sense at all. And so one of the things I started thinking about, I felt bad for running this activity and just hit a brick wall online with the students, with the teachers there. There were some parents there. So that was interesting. But then, I got this idea to use a controller. So a lot of my kids, or both my kids, got 2 of them, not a lot of them, know how to use an Xbox controller. They've seen it. So if I was to explain direction and actions, so essentially coloring in that square is an action. And so we looked at the controller. On the left-hand side, generally is the D-pad. That's for moving. On the right-hand side is the buttons. Those are for actions. So we started building up this idea and the example that we walked through, and this was the algorithm that they came up with. So I'm using Canva, so I just grabbed some of the icons and dropped them in here. So the bee moves up, moves right, and then collects the pollen, and then get out the way. And then the idea was for it to move down, right, collect, so on, and then make honey. We got the honey symbol there. So that was really cool. And then when I went to explain how they can use this, and we developed some action ideas here, we, in the call, came up with this idea for the grid game challenge. So the grid game, and so the inspiration for that was, jumping between tabs here. The inspiration for that was the TRex. Okay, we used the TRex and we created these like obstacles for the TRex to go. So TRex needs to get his food, but avoid extinction. So he can move up, and then he needs to move right and jump. Okay, so we started adding in those action words because they're familiar with some of these things. So one of the action words that came out in the call was pull and push and use. And so they're really familiar with this language, even though they're only 6. That's my little win for today, is we came up with the grid game challenge using those really popular ideas, turning it into something fun, something interesting. So if you want to teach computational thinking to young people, especially younger kids, actually anyone, I suggest trying this out, turn it into a game, because later on we're going to use Scratch, we're going to use Make Code Arcade. So they're going to be making games, and so if we can introduce some of those ideas that they're really familiar with early on, we can increase the likelihood of success. And also with this one, they can include and invite their siblings or parents to jump in. Maybe games get made for them, and then the output of the game is to come up with really good algorithms that can solve the game in the quickest possible time. But that's all from me. Thank you so much for hanging out. Just super stoked that we got this cool idea out, and that, the fail from last week turned into a win this week. And I hope the weather's awesome where you are. Peace. See ya.